Hey BOBCATS, it's Kelly Damphousse, president at Texas State University, and welcome to the very first edition of the current podcast where we hear from faculty, staff, students, and alumni, learning more about them, their Texas State story, and learning more about Texas State through the process as well. And I'm so excited today to welcome two of my really good friends here. Actually, you guys were the very first podcast that I did when I was coming to Texas State, the host of the Squarin Around podcast. So let me allow you guys to introduce yourself to our audience.
Yeah, what's up? Thank you for having us on.
I love the intro. Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, K-Damp, what's going on?
What's going on? Welcome to Squarin Around. But this is the current, right?
It's the current.
So thank you for having us on again.
Yeah.
I'm Jakob Rodriguez. We're the hosts of Squarin Around. This is my best friend, Andrew Zimmel.
Yeah. Yes, both class of 2020. Both did student media here at Texas State. I did KTSW, and then Jakob was the editor-in-chief of the University Star.
My biggest claim to fame, for sure.
Yeah.
So 2020.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so did you graduate in May of 2020?
May
Yes.
of 2020.
So you went through COVID
Yeah.
together.
And then I came back and I jumped in the river and did a whole graduation at the stadium when they had it there for my class. But Andrew famously did not walk.
So Andrew, I've got a deal for you.
I know, you do.
know, in December, graduation, we're inviting everyone who graduated in 2020 who didn't walk for whatever reason. And I don't want to like point fingers, but we're inviting them to come back so they can graduate. You need to come walk.
You keep telling me this.
What a great picture would be
It
you
would
and me
be.
together like 4 years later.
4 years later. I'm wondering, though, I don't look as good as I did in 2020.
No, you
What
look
are you
great.
talking about? You look better.
You look better?
you look-
Oh, now you're going to make me blush.
You got a face for the radio, that's for sure. So anyways, yeah.
You're in the right business, buddy.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So tell me about the first time. You guys have a great relationship, I can tell. I saw you guys together at the volleyball match on Saturday, and it's fun to see people engaging with each other in things that are happening at Texas State, alumni coming back to campus. But how did you guys, you remember the first time you met?
Oh, yeah. Like, it sticks out like a yearbook photo pretty much for me. It was a mixer for the University Star and KTSW, and Andrew was in the middle of telling everybody how great San Antonio tacos are. They're the best in the world.
They are.
All this stuff.
Yep.
As a person from McAllen, Texas, I took great offense to this, and we went back and forth, had an exchange of words. And to this day, he still says that San Antonio tacos are better. I disagree. He's never even been to the Valley, so maybe he'll come back for Thanksgiving with me this year.
Here's my take. So if you are a very successful person making tacos in the Valley, you're going to go to the next metropolitan city and sell them, and that would be San Antonio. San Antonio tacos, by far, breakfast tacos, by far, the best in the world.
Okay,
Now.
best taco in San Antonio.
Oh, man.
You didn't even have
put me
a
on the
taco
spot.
spot in San Antonio.
I like the place that we went.
Oh, Taco House, the place that
Taco House?
No,
Yeah,
see,
Taco
there
House,
you go.
fire.
If we're giving it, I know no free plugs, but I'm just saying, there's plenty of
No,
good spots.
free plugs. Yeah. Come back next week to find out which one it was that paid us $50 to
I'm just
mention their
saying,
name.
Yeah.
no free shout outs. Okay. So, but the take has been, and it continues to be, that I think San Antonio tacos are the best in the world. Now, the problem with that take is that immediately I put it on Twitter, of course, and I was very much disagreed with.
And
And
viral in the Valley.
yeah, it did. It did go violent. It went big in the Valley, and I'm still getting DMs. So it's this podcast. Thank you for bringing it back up again. I'm guarantee you.
Just recirculate that same thing.
Yeah,
Same thing. It's going to be like a #1 hit again. We're going to go back and recycle
And
it.
they're
Yeah,
just
mentioned
all
too.
really bots that I run.
Now, when you guys were students, were you were involved in media, of course, but were you also like athletics fans? Did you go to the games, or did you go to the tailgates, or how did that all work?
Before I started covering the team, I was a fan first.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see Texas State succeed on the football field, across any arena, really. But I remember we would tailgate volleyball. Like that was a really big core memory for me and Andrew and some of our
Tailgate volleyball.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
now I'd never
volleyball
heard that
school.
before.
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
volleyball school. We really are.
So when I say that to Coach Sean Hewitt on our show, like I mean it. Like I was there. We did that. We support the team.
We need to bring back tailgating for all those sports, right?
Yeah,
Soccer
absolutely.
tailgating.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a great crowd that comes out for soccer, by the way. First, the students come out there because it's so close to Residence Hall. But we've got a group that's from a church group that started doing Bible studies with the women, and then said we want to go support the team. And they're I think it's called BOCATS Army. And so every
Yes.
time we score a goal, they go up and down with the smoke things and kind of what are they?
Smokers,
Smoke
yeah,
bombs,
yeah.
smoke bombs or something like that. So they're really active, and they're always banging on drums and blowing horns and stuff like that.
That's how the campus gets rowdy. you
it
know?
does.
Yeah, and I always think about people who don't go to athletics.
you
What
got?
are they missing? I whenever I talk with students, I said you got 6 Saturdays in the fall to make memories that last a lifetime. Like how do you miss that? But I guess it's not everyone's deal, but for me, it was super important.
Well, before we had this, like, essentially a revolution when it comes to football at Texas State, there were a couple of bad years, and I remember I remember vividly being one of like 6 people in the crowd for like the last game of the season.
You won fan of the game.
I won fan of the game one time, and it's just me.
You're in the top 10.
It was when the student section was behind the end zone. It was just me yelling at a ref, arms, and there was a very picture of me on
Sponsored
the
by Whataburger.
Sponsored by, it was the What a Fan of the Game. It was just me. Yeah, but I came to Texas State knowing that football, but I wanted to cover a team because there was only one chance to cover a Division I football team, you know what I mean? Like in Central Texas, where you can go to every press conference and be on the field and do everything. And KTSW gave me that chance, and I didn't look back.
Well, I want to get back to that question. So you're a high school student, and you're thinking about where I'm going to go. So and I ask this question to students all the time, why'd you come to Texas State? You want to start, Jake?
Yeah, sure. Well, both of my parents went to Texas State. That's how they met. They actually got engaged at Palmer's.
Oh, is that right?
And so, like, I just grew up kind of indoctrinated, like, Texas State is an awesome place. And I had really no idea until my senior year of high school when they brought me up here and kind of, like, toured around. And I was like, well, I'll definitely apply, but I really don't know what I'm going to do. Yeah. And kind of was really into documentary filmmaking, like Vice News, like that sort of stuff. And I was like, journalism sounds pretty cool, but I had never done that, Mm-hmm. And so when I got here at the Star, I signed up, and then boom, that's how I started. And like,
I came to Texas State, and I went to other campuses, and it was kind of concrete, and it was kind of overcast. And I swear to you, I walked on campus, and there was a rainbow, and there was butterflies, and I never looked back. I joke with people all the time, but like Texas State's campus is so beautiful that even if there was another school that I thought about, I wasn't going to go anywhere else. And then again, KTSW, I went to talk to Dan and the group down there. I got the little business card, and first thing I did when I signed up for campus, I went to Tower Hall, unpacked my stuff, and then went to Trinity.
That's crazy. I mean, you were locked in quickly. A lot of our students come and they're not sure what they're going to do. It takes them a while to kind of find their stride, but you were like locked in real quick.
Jacob,
this guy's like a fly to a light. Like he just boom,
Look, some people, and I understand, and I respect the people who come to college and then figure it out when they get here, because that's one path. My path was always, I knew what I wanted to do, and now how do I get to that point, right? Like, where do I go? I had my 4-year plan at Texas State, like, okay, I'm going to do this. Junior year, get an internship. Senior year, get a full-time job. I got a part-time job my sophomore year, moved the, kind of goalpost a little bit, and then COVID changes it again. But like, I always knew, okay, I want to do radio. I want to do sports talk. How do I get there? And luckily, I met great friends along the way, like Jacob and some of my other closest friends in the world through that path.
Yeah, I might have a little bit of a story, I guess, like that most people can relate to. Maybe don't know exactly what they're going to do, but I had kind of an idea. Like, ooh, this sounds like a good try. Like, maybe if I try this, then I'm going to regret it if I don't try, maybe, And so I just kind of walked up to the University Star one day, and they were like, do you know what an opinions columnist is? And I was like, yes. And immediately after the interview, I Googled, what is an opinions columnist? And so I just kind of took the opportunities that were presented to me and ran with it. But my dad ran track here. So that I grew up hearing stories about Drew Fucci and Charles Austin and all these like insane athletes. And so I was like, oh, well, yeah, I guess I could cover sports at some point. Maybe that would be fun.
That's really cool. So how did the podcast come into being, and what does Squarin Around even mean?
I guess it's a take on, just messing around. Yeah. But obviously it's homage to one of our favorite places, the Square, right downtown. A lot of great memories there. And really, like,
I got to get back to the memories thing in a little bit. So come back to that.
If I can remember them, I'll tell you all about them.
A lot of great memories I can't remember. Yeah,
a lot of like my quote for the University Star, my senior 30 line was like, shout out to all the early mornings on the Square and the late nights in the office.
Yeah, that's
something
funny.
like that. Pretty funny. But about 2 years after we graduated, me and Andrew, we had a podcast at the Star called Cats Got Our Tongues. Very fun.
Oh, really? Okay. But, we got to get in the archives for that.
Yeah, roll up in the SoundCloud. But 2 years after we graduated, we were still calling each other and talking for hours after the football games, like dissecting what had happened.
Can you believe they did that?
Exactly. And
why is that guy not playing? Why aren't we throwing the tight end more often? Yeah, that's always my thing.
Yeah.
Throw the tight end, right?
What is this?
Yeah. No, I'm a tight end guy. The tight end's always open.
Connor Fox, I'm rooting for you, brother.
I know.
I'm rooting for you.
It's my thing.
Crazy.
I'm always like, the tight end's wide open, throw it to him.
Titus Lions, let me know.
Every room I'm in, it's 2 against 1. It's crazy. Like,
who doesn't love 12 personnel?
Here's the thing. I agree with, we'll get off this. But yes, this is Jacob's, the drum he's been hammering all season. Get the tight end involved. But okay.
We had a lot of great tight ends here too.
Yeah.
Keenan Brown, shout out. But anyway.
Gabe Schrade, shout out.
Gabe Schrade, shout out. But anyway, we were talking to each other for hours, sometimes like against our friends' will, really. And I was just like, Andrew, we should like start a podcast, start putting these things on record and just like letting things happen. And we wanted to cover things our way again. So this is just kind of us taking back what we wanted to do.
Well, the other thing too is that like Jacob was in a job that he enjoyed but didn't love, right? And he wanted to get into sports.
Yeah.
And I had to go to North Dakota. They banished me to the tundra during the pandemic. So I had to.
You're almost to Canada. It's not that bad.
I mean, North Dakota.
You're this close to God's country.
Yeah,
Yeah, right. So
it's not the end of the world, but you can see it from there, right? So,
So this was a way for us to both like be connected to Texas State again in a way that what I think the best part of our life was covering sports at Texas State. This is the way to get back to it. So that was part of it too. But I told Jacob, because I've done a couple podcasts in my life, I know how hard it is to edit and put it on. And I said, Jacob, if we're going to do this, I don't want to do any of the editing. I don't want to do it. I just want to show up and talk. And that was the deal we made, and it's turned out to be really good because Jacob is an incredible video producer, and we did a video podcast. I did not know the first episode was going to be a video podcast, so there's a video of me eating a Big Mac on a
mukbang, really.
Are we on camera? I wasn't ready for this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was eating French fries in my hotel room as we were talking about Texas State.
So this kind of naturally evolves from you guys just talking amongst yourselves and say, this is gold. This is gold, Jerry. We got to get it out there. And so you want to like present it in a way that you can reach other people. But it now is the new form of media, I think. And so as print media is struggling and TV media and so on, people are consuming information through podcasts. Now people are driving long distances in cars and listen to podcasts. Or if you follow a sporting a team or something like that, there's usually 2 or 3. We've got 2 or 3 podcasts associated with Texas State. And so you can kind of get some insider insight. And also I think people in their minds are having the same conversation with you. Like they're going, dang right, I need to play the tight end more often or whatever. And so it's kind of a new way of engaging with an audience.
Yeah. Now literally everybody, their mom and the university president has a podcast. But it's really cool to build the community that we've seen too. We see people at games now and they're like, I was thinking that the whole time and you guys said it. So thank you. Or thank you for asking that question to coach. I really appreciate it.
And that's what's really cool too, because with Jacob's background, he is and still was and still is a really good journalist. And I call it a capital J journalist, the guy who's covering like City Hall and everything. And I was always more of the like goofball, lower K journalist, like this is an opinion that we're going to put in the paper type of deal. So when we got together, Jacob was like, okay, we're going to go to the interviews, we're going to do the press conferences, we're going to do, and it has really turned out to be something because there's some stuff that Jacob probably doesn't feel super comfortable, and I don't care, I'm going to say it. And then there's some stuff that I'm like, well, and Jacob's like, no, say it, like put your chest on it, put your name on it. Yeah. So it's been really good.
Really good strengths and weaknesses, I feel. I feel like you can tell it the most when we interview like a coach or a player. It's like, wow, these guys are really approaching this from opposite angles. Jacob has a FOIA and Andrew's talking about movies.
That's right. What's your favorite meal or whatever?
I mean, favorite meal. Hold on a second. I know. What are we doing here?
That's my favorite. That's my whenever I get lost, that's where I go to. Favorite movie meal. The last meal. Like, what's your last dinner gonna be? To me, it's like whatever takes the longest to cook. I don't know what that is, but
Andrew's, I guess, is Joey Hobart's Pizza at Gumby's now.
Yeah.
Are you allowed? Are they paying for that?
Yeah,
so I guess so.
No free plugs.
No free shout outs. Sorry. Yeah, put the windows.
I will tell you that pizza's really good though.
It is yummy.
So walk us through the process of how the podcast works. So you guys, do you plan things out for a couple of days, or you say, hey, it's Thursday, let's get rolling?
Well, now it's kind of like its own ecosystem that it's built up. We got a lot of questions from people that roll in. We'll chime in on like Twitter Spaces and stuff. So it's kind of like all like naturally fed at this point. But at the very beginning, I would start a sticky note. I'm obsessed with sticky notes. They're all over my house. I look like an insane person with like flow charts and I'm following the data.
Yeah, that's funny.
But everything important usually gets a sticky for the week. And so there's like, basically one for Squarin Around every week that I have like topics. And or if we're trying to get a guest, I have that stuff associated with it.
Yeah, and like I said, I just show up and talk. Because that's the thing. Like
He's game ready.
I'm game ready. I'm always, you stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So whatever Jake throws, I'm here for it.
Do you prefer to have a guest or just you guys riffing back and forth?
We did 9 weeks of guests recently. Like we just now stopped it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's what the audience wants. Because sometimes the audience is like, a little less of you, more of a guest. We want Kelly Damphousse on. We want Don on. We want to, and then sometimes they're like, you know what? Too many guests. We want to hear from you guys. So.
Yeah. Sometimes we'll just put a rerun of the Rugrats or a Nickelodeon show.
That's funny.
Like, all right, that's our episode for the week.
That's our episode. So you spend some time like networking and trying to find people who be on the pod, and then you how much research do you do if you have a guest, or do you just like let's go in there?
It
and
kind of depends.
Depends, yeah. Because we have really good relationships with a lot of the coaches now. Obviously, dating back to some of our time back, I feel like Andrew is really tight with Coach Ricky Woodard and Coach Z. I'm really close with Coach Terrence Johnston, come on the show, and Coach Trouty. So like those are kind of our bread and butter. We don't really have to do a lot of prep for those. Yeah. But football is so like all consuming. Like I feel like all of our effort and mental energy is dedicated to a lot of those shows. Like we got to get this right. Otherwise some dude online is going to tell us we were wrong about this game in 1997. You know,
that's the toughest part, I think. If you ask us like what the toughest, it's the fact that our football memory of Texas State starts in like 2015.
Yeah, that's right.
So we got like a decade. But there's some fans who listen to the podcast who start back in 80, 81, and they saw national championships and they saw FCS title games and stuff. And it's like, okay, I appreciate that. We respect the history. We bring Colton McWilliams on all the time to talk about the history, but we didn't see it, so we don't really know.
Yeah, it almost doesn't matter because you didn't see it happen before you. And now, like college football, I mean, you can attest to this, is completely like night and day different. So it's like, what does this new era mean versus what did everything before mean? But Texas State won 2 national titles, so I'll always bring that up.
Yeah, and I think people forget about that. When we were working our way towards the bowl game this past season, I think I heard people say, well, they've never qualified for a bowl before. And I had to remind people, we've qualified twice for a bowl, but the Sun Belt was a different conference back then. We only had 2 bowl tie-ins, and we got hosed on getting selected. But think about this. Play this game in your mind. What happens if we go to 2 bowl games in those first 2 years? How does that change things with our fans and with our recruiting? Yeah, it's like, it is a different time. It's like an alternate universe. So what happens if that happens?
I would like to think that we don't go another 10 years without a bowl bid. I'd like to think that's the reality that we would live in then.
Yeah. Although, sometimes I love movie arcs, right? So you got your valleys, and then the peaks are so much better because the valley. I just wish the valley hadn't been so deep and so long. Yeah. But last year, we only went 8-5. When we lost 5 games, and some of the players actually had 5 games. That's terrible. We lost 5
Cole
games.
Wilson.
Yeah, exactly. And but even going 8-5. I felt like almost like we won a national championship.
Oh,
it was
God,
like
yes.
The sky was bluer, the grass was greener the next day.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
I literally heard like Creedence Clearwater Revival in the background. Like I was like, oh my! Like when you guys were jumping in the river and stuff. That's all I heard in the background. And that's why like last year, and there were so many special moments from last year. It was also the first year of our podcast. So I got to get a lot of that like on tape. And it was just really cool to like be a part of like that like media circle again and like get to see the team do what we always thought they really could achieve at Texas State.
And you talk about these lows, let me tell you, those lows, there was times where my parents were like, you need to take a step back.
Yeah,
like
this
isn't life and death. And it felt life and death because every week it was like, I'm living and dying by this team. So when you win 8 games, that's 8 times I lived last year. Yeah. You know what I mean? Which is
You only died 5.
I only died 5.
It's like Dungeons and Dragons, right? You see?
Oh, yeah. No. Well, that's half the amount of times I died like 3 years ago. So I love it.
Yeah.
I talk about this a lot because I get to hang around with student athletes. I travel with them a lot. And I'm always struck by how quickly they recover from a loss. Like on Sunday, they're just back at it. And they got classes to go to, and they got to move on to the next game. Fans, on the other hand, they're still dying about a game we lost 3 weeks ago. And so am I, because I'm a fan, right? Or a year ago. Can you believe we lost that game?
Arkansas State.
Yeah, don't bring that up again, because that was a brutal trip for me. But fans do live and die on this thing. And student athletes care, but they literally have to move on. You got to get ready for that next shot. And that's actually what I love about being a fan, because it matters so much. And the thing that you fear the most as a president is not people being angry, but it's apathy. And I said this a couple times last year when we lost a couple of games. I said, how great does it feel to have fans now complaining that we should have won that game, when in the past they said, well, of course we knew we were going to lose that game.
Or they weren't even at the game.
Yeah, or they weren't even at, or not even, did we play this weekend?
Yes.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Which that was, and again, this is a credit to you, this is a credit to the athletic administration, that was the biggest change to me. That when we were in school, it was not like this. It was not like the live and die. It felt like I'd come into class on Monday after a tough loss, and I still have puffy eyes from crying, but everybody else is kind of like, why are you this upset?
There's like a culture flip happening almost within the last 2 years, I feel, on campus.
Well, we worked really hard the first year to get students to come, but then the season went south really quick. And so we had great attendance the first couple of games and then just kind of went down. We had some weather problems as well. As the season goes on, that you have a rainy day or whatever. But then last year we started building momentum in the student section. The student section is important for a couple reasons. First, alumni are looking at it, and you hear the alumni complaining, "Well, there's no students in the student section or whatever." But when they see that there, it kind of energizes the alumni and the fan base that are not students. And then the other thing is that's the TV view. And so I don't know if you watched. I watch every game after the game, so I go back and watch it on TV. Sometimes I watch 2 or 3 times. And so after the Arizona State game, which we just
We're right there. 4 possessions to seal it.
Yeah, could have done it, right? And so I go back and watch it. I'm super depressed and I'm sad, but I'm glad that we had a good crowd. But I saw the announcers talking about the student section, and the students stayed the whole time. We had 9,000 students in the student section. It just looked great. And I watched other games, like I watched a game last night, and that's a 4-0 team and playing on a Tuesday night, admittedly, but we were on a Thursday night. But that stadium wasn't nearly full there, and we were packed. And we wasn't sold out, but it was pretty close to it. And we have a Tuesday night game coming up against Louisiana, and I think we're going to sell that out. Yeah, it's must-see TV. Only game in town on a Tuesday night.
Well, it's also a super important game too. It's not like 2 teams that are middling.
Never beat them, right?
Well,
I don't know about the history. I want to get my history right, but never beat them.
I don't think so. And then this is also a chance for the Sunbelt West.
That's right. It's super important. Yeah. It's so funny. Before the Arizona State game, I was talking that this is the most important game ever because it's Thursday night, ESPN. And, it's important in so many ways that fans got to come out so we can showcase the university, but also we need to be successful. And we came up short, but actually we looked good coming up short. We got a lot of good publicity. A million people watched the game. So then the next game became super important. I said, okay, this is the most important game with all the realignment stuff going on. That's the most important game. And then, so we lose 2 games in a row on there, and then we're going to Troy, which we've never won in Troy before. That becomes the most important game ever. And so and isn't it great to be at a university where every game now is magnified?
But that is college sports too, that every single game matters. And they told us with realignment, it's not going to matter as much. Did it matter?
Yeah.
Because it mattered to me.
I'm watching Liberty last night. You know why I'm watching Liberty last night? I can't even tell you what town Liberty is in, right?
No idea.
But you know why I'm watching it? Because they're 4-0, and I want them to lose so we have a chance to move up. I'm still holding out hope that we'll be the highest ranked conference champion at the end of the season. Could happen, right?
Could happen.
But it only happens if Liberty loses and Boise State loses.
We're rooting against you, Boise State.
Yeah, that's right. But that's what I love about college football because I'm watching Detroit Lions versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That doesn't matter to me. I'm a Cowboys fan. The Cowboys are either going to get in, they're not going to get in. I'm not going to lose sleep over the Cowboys losing, but I will lose sleep, and I have lost sleep over college football.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so this is great chatting with you guys, but we're going to take a little bit of a break here. We'll be right back after this break. Well, welcome back to the current podcast. We're here with the Squarin Around guys from the podcast. Thank you, Jacob and Andrew, for being here. Let's shift gears now and talk about homecoming, which is coming up pretty quick. Homecoming is different for students and for alumni, but maybe, do you have any memories of your homecoming experience? Jacob, you got a great memory, I think, right?
Yeah, I was nominated to the homecoming court my senior year with my good friend Emily Hall, who is a PR major over here. She didn't end up making the final court though, and neither did I. I think I was like 3rd runner-up or 2nd runner-up, whatever you call it. But that was a really cool experience just to be on the field at halftime for something unrelated to anything I've ever done, really.
Did you have to buy a suit for it?
No, I had one already.
You had one already.
And then I got fitted up, got some nice boots.
He looked sharp.
Yeah, it was fun. But went to all the homecoming events, and that was really cool. I have the sash still. I should frame it.
Do you have pictures from any homecoming experiences that you had?
See,
Andrew?
I was a journalist. I was always locked in the press box.
There's got to be a picture of you doing something, right? Like
maybe
thinking,
We'll look.
asking a question at a press conference or something.
You would have been a great soapbox derby guy. I'm looking at these photos.
See, we were talking about traditions and stuff. You put me in a soapbox derby, I'm doing it. If alumni
you're downhill
come back,
fast.
Come on. Oh, yeah.
Now, I will tell you this. I'm only talking about myself, but we did a promo last year about soapbox derby, and then it got canceled because of the rain.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, let me just get inside one of those and like do a photo op. Like I could not fit inside of it. Like it was super small. I was so embarrassed. Like I said, let me just get inside. I went, this is not happening. So I got a picture of me standing beside it. So those look kind of scary though.
Some of them are a little dicey.
A little sketchy.
They work on them like 2 weeks out of the whole year.
Yeah.
So
but I think it's our longest running homecoming tradition is soapbox derby.
So you tell me if I go get some jumbo soapbox, you would do it with me?
I would do it with you in a heartbeat.
All right, I'm just getting on that.
Squaring Around
We need
soapbox.
to have like an alumni soapbox thing. What about as an alumnus? Do you have a memory of homecoming?
We have good ones and we have bad ones.
Okay.
I'm glad you're taking the lead on this.
But I'll say this, that for homecoming every year for Texas State is super special for us because we talked about coming to Texas State, but even coming up here today to record this podcast with you guys, it just makes me feel great. Like every time you come back to Texas State, even when we drive by the stadium, there's just a little bit of me that like a little spark relights, like I'm excited to be back in San Marcos. I talked to Jacob. I said that I'm splitting my time between Austin and San Antonio so much, I might want to move back just because of how the memories I have here, Yeah,
anytime I drive down 35, I just put on the Randy Rogers band, immediately just filled with emotion, just like, oh my God. Like, so every Saturday now has become like its own mini homecoming for me. But I remember my first time back in San Antonio, for my real job at Ken's 5, like I remember coming back for a homecoming just with all my buddies from college, and that was so like nostalgia. Like we were like back like in 2016 or 2020 again. It encapsulated a memory pretty much.
It's interesting. I always talk to high school seniors who are thinking about going to college, and they say, "Well, I'm afraid about leaving my hometown and leaving all my friends behind." And I always say, you are probably going to find your best friend when you go to college, and probably the best man in your wedding. There you go, fist bump. There you go. Maid of honor in your wedding. Someone your kids will call Uncle Andrew, and so on. Because there's something that happens at college that's different from high school because you're now independent. But everyone's a little nervous about even the people are pretending that they got all figured out, and so there's something that happens where people I got to find a friend, and then when you find a friend, like you grasp onto that person, and then that becomes your best friend really quickly.
I can tell you, for me, we talked about
tacos aside, right?
Tacos aside, yeah. One day we'll split that difference, maybe.
When you go to high school, you make friends who are just in your homeroom with you because it's just proximity. When you come to college, you get to pick your friends.
Yeah.
And for Jacob, at least, and I'll speak on our friendship, I was so driven in like, this is what I want to do in media. Like, this is my goal. This is what I'm going to do. So when I met Jacob and I had somebody, a kindred spirit in that he wants what I want, we want to move in the same direction. And then I found Sonia and our other friend Figgy and everybody who wants to do this. It's not easy. Like we make it look easy on the podcast. It's not easy. So find somebody like him who wanted what I wanted just as bad. That's why our friendship is so strong.
Yeah, and this is how I got the most lucky. Like I've had so many of my best friends were in my Bobcat preview class at Texas State. So that's where I met my buddy Tristan and Danny. Danny lived in my dorm at Jackson Hall. Shout out. But and then I met Andrew with all like the SJMC stuff. So that's really like everything just kind of coalesced for me and came into this really nice place for me.
I loved hearing your stories about why you came to Texas State, but now reflecting back as an alumnus, what are some things like you would say, like, I need to tell someone about Texas State because of this or that, maybe what's going on now or something, the experience you had when you were a student here?
Do you want to start or do you want me?
No, you go ahead, buddy.
Opportunity. Texas State gives you an opportunity that no other institution, I think, in the state gives you. Hands-on experience. We talked a little bit beforehand about internships and how many Bobcats are still in media in the area. And it's because you go to your internship and you outwork everybody else. Texas State gives you that opportunity. The opportunities here are second to none.
I hear from employers all the time about if I have a choice, I'll pick a Bobcat because there's something different about those people that they have grit and resilience, and a lot of them are first-generation students who are Pell eligible, and they're like scrambling to get on first base. I always use the analogy that there are some people who are born on third base and think they hit a triple, and our kids are like butting to get on first and trying to steal second base. And that drive and determination just to get to college and to get through college really sets them up to do well in whatever field of work they get up into.
And I look at our like distinguished alumni all the time, and I go through and I go like, okay, what did this person do?
Yeah.
And why is Andrew not on the list? That's really what he's looking for.
But I want to be there. But that's the thing. Like I look at that and I go like, I want to. And we always joke about like the four heads on the Mount Rushmore. I want to be next to George Strait and LBJ, like on the Texas State alumni Mount Rushmore.
Could happen.
It could, but like you got to work to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's really just about like pride and tradition. Like as corny as that sounds, like I mentioned, both my parents went here. It's so special to me. My brother now teaches here in the world languages department. And so like now my little sister wants to come here. So there's this
Keep
like
it in the family.
This is like the Harvard of the river for my family.
The Harvard of the river. Everyone wants to compare this to the Harvard of the plains.
Yeah.
I never heard Harvard of the river.
Harvard on the river, maybe?
Yeah,
There you
Harvard
go.
on the river.
There you go.
Harvard of the Hill Country.
Harvard of the Hill Country.
I love that. You guys give me all kinds of great ideas here. I'm going to write this stuff all down. Thank you guys for being here and sharing a little bit about your experiences, sharing about the podcast you got going, but mostly about your relationship, which I think is something that's really special about Texas State that I'm starting to discover too when I talk to our alumni who are coming back and they're talking about, I had this friend in Jackson Hall or whatever who was a sweet mate, and then next thing I know we're in the class together, and then now we are 40 years later still friends going to football games together. And I really do think that athletics brings people back to campus for a reason. It's the reason we do homecoming around a football game, because there's something to do when you come here. But I just feel like
something to do.
Yeah, there is something to do. Sure, around tailgate, right? And so
Go squaring around.
Yeah, squaring around. Go square. I love that phrase. I'm going to use that now. Let's go squaring around a little bit. But thank you guys for representing us so well. Because people can look at a university and think about it's the buildings, right? Or it's the faculty and whatever. But it's really the alumni that are the vision or the window to the university. We talk about athletics being the window of the university as well, but our alumni reflect so much what the university is, because you're the product that we helped to create. You guys brought a lot of stuff with you, but we molded you along the way, and you're different, I hope, than when you came. And we always talk about this being a life-changing experience. I hope that you guys kind of feel like your lives were changed by being here.
Absolutely.
On the podcast or just at Texas State?
Yeah, both of them. Thank you guys for representing us so well, for creating that network. And I love your podcast, and we'll come back and maybe talk about realignment sometime.
Deep tease, Kelly.
Yeah,
deep tease.
We'll go deep for sure. All right, and now it's time for my favorite part of the podcast, and that is the final question. The final question, these are actually coming from students online. I have not seen these, and I don't have my glasses, so I'll do the best I can. So the first one says, look how far away I have to hold it. What is your favorite part of Texas State homecoming leading up to the game? Frankly, it's the anticipation of homecoming, knowing that a lot of our alumni are coming back. We have the Distinguished Alumni Gala where we recognize distinguished alumni who come back. But I love parades, and we kind of got away from parades here, so we're coming back and doing a bit of parades, so we'll see how that goes this year. But I have to say one of my favorite traditions, actually the longest tradition at homecoming at Texas State, which is the Soapbox Derby. We actually got rained out last year, so we couldn't do it, but it's a lot of fun seeing our students kind of gathering around and seeing our student leaders racing those soapbox cars down the ramp and down the street, and see how that all turns out. I'm always a little nervous because it's high anxiety, a lot of speed, and not a lot of padding there. They're all wearing helmets, of course, but that's a lot of fun for me as well. So next question, if you could switch positions with anyone at Texas State for a month, who or what position would it be? I always want to be police officer, and so I would definitely become a police officer for a month. Not the chief, because I don't want to have that job. It's too hard. But I would like to be one of the police officers in our mounted patrol, because I want to be a Royal Canadian Mounted Police Officer. I think it'd be cool to be riding those horses around at special events. Those horses, by the way, have been a real attraction for young people who want to go up there. And some of them have never seen a horse that big before, or even seen a horse live before. But it's been a really good way to kind of connect with the community members and connect with our students as well. So I would like to be a mounted patrol officer at Texas State University. How cool would that be? All right. Thanks for sending those questions in, and I look forward to seeing more of those in our future podcasts. All right. States up.
This podcast is a production of the Division of Marketing and Communication at Texas State University. Podcasts appearing on the Texas State Podcast Network represent the views of the host and guest and not of Texas State University.